Welcome to the Living with Narcissists podcast, where the first recommendation is don't. But unfortunately, that's not always possible. So this is your haven for validation, insight, strategies, and resources. So let's get started. Welcome, I'm Carrie, and this is the Living with Narcissists podcast. Today's episode will be about summing things up from the last 2 seasons and to give my audience the opportunity to ask questions by emailing me directly at livingwithnarcissists@myyahoo.com. I'll leave my email address in the show notes, so you don't need to write it down now. I'm very interested in what you have to say, so I hope to hear from you. In Season 1, we discussed what it means to be a narcissist, and in Season 2, we spoke about how people bond and attach to others. Like a book has chapters, I am creating a new season for each of the new concepts we discuss that relate to living with difficult people, some of which may be people with a cluster B personality disorder. Before we move on to Season 3, I think it's important to distinguish the difference between attachment issues and attachment disorders. In 1997, researchers Van Isendorn and DeWolf determined that insecure attachment issues are relationship specific, whereas attachment disorders are not. The symptoms of attachment disorders are pervasive through all relationships and contexts, which means with all the people they interact and everywhere they go. I would also say people with personality disorders tend to be rigid and they won't accept feedback and change behavior or opinions. Therefore, they never really change. They're just too defensive. We learned in Season 1 the criteria for a person who has a cluster B personality disorder, which is an extreme case of insecure attachment. We learned the 9 traits listed in the DSM so we can evaluate if a person is approaching or has entered the narcissism range. In Season 2, we learned about the 3 types of insecure attachment, which can be a hair over the line of secure attachment or all the way down the scale into cluster B narcissism range of personality disorders. I know that we're not licensed therapists, and therefore we're not qualified to diagnose anyone, but we do get to see these toxic people behind closed doors and the hypocrisy of how they present themselves to the rest of the world. That's why I believe self-education is so important. It allows my mind clarity because I can always ground myself with the knowledge that mental health professionals, based on decades of research, have determined the patterns of behavior that are healthy and which ones are unhealthy. So I get validation from the list. I know if someone is exploitive. I know if someone is arrogant. And I know if someone does not have empathy. This knowledge gives me the confidence to be discerning about who I spend my time with and who I do not. If a minimum of 51% of the Western population has a secure attachment style, then by reason, that means a maximum of 49% have an insecure attachment style. That's a lot of insecure people in the world. Even if most of those people don't have a cluster B personality disorder, they are still living with attachment issues and therefore relating to the world and people in a dysfunctional manner. It's also more likely that if you have an attachment issue, you have narcissists in your family, and you may have friends that are narcissists, and heaven forbid, you may have even married one. This leaves you in an environment that reinforces the dysfunction and makes it even harder to figure out what's wrong. That is until you unlock the vault of wisdom. Understanding is the key. so you can reprogram your beliefs and your behaviors. If you would like to learn more about attachment styles, author Taha Zaid wrote a series of books, one for each type of insecure attachment style. They are entitled Anxious Attachment No More, Avoidant Attachment No More, and Disorganized Attachment No More. These books will allow you to understand your patterns and give you guidance to help you move closer to secure attachment. I'll include this information in the show notes so you don't have to write it down. In Season 3, we will learn what trauma is, how to measure it, and how it affects us. In the meantime, I look forward to hearing your questions and have the opportunity to interact with you. Thank you for joining me. I hope this information is helpful. If you like my content, please choose to follow, subscribe, or provide a rating so I can share this information with more people and you don't miss out on future episodes. I look forward to sharing more in the future. Have a wonderfully peaceful day. Till next time.